again, folks. Best books to invest in for 2024. As 2023 comes to a close, I think we may be on the precipice of some of the best buying opportunities that we've seen in the comic book hobby for a long time. Of course, nobody knows if we're going to see the bottom in 2024. If they tell you they do know, they're lying to you. But the potential certainly is there. So this is a list of books, a mix of spec and classic keys of books to be on the lookout for and prices and targets to look for. So let's hop into the computer and take a look at this list. Starting off the list, we have Free Comic Book Day 2016, One Punch Man / Hero Academia #1. That's the actual title of the book. Looks like this. Beautiful, awesome cover. I've always absolutely loved this cover. And this book is a great investment because it is a twofer. It's the first appearance of One Punch Man in a standard US comic, and it's the first published My Hero Academia comic in standard size. The My Hero Academia first appeared in Japanese magazine Shonen Jump Weekly. Both of these properties, One Punch Man and My Hero Academia, are incredibly popular, and they're both rumored to have new live-action TV shows and movies in development. So up until this point, it's been all animated stuff, and we're getting some live-action stuff, and we did just get an announcement just recently that the show will be on Netflix for My Hero Academia, which might cause this book to see a little bump, so you might just want to put this on your radar and come back to it in a couple months or something like that. But because of the popularity of both of these properties, and even though it's a Free Comic Book Day from 2016, it is hard to find in 9.8. I mean, there's not just like a ton of copies of this out there. And if we go and look at GPA to see recent sales, the most recent sale was a super low sale of $206. Again, I think it's going to be hard to find one anywhere near that price today because of the announcement. And, you know, this is a highly coveted book. So if you can get it for anywhere near 206, I would jump on it. And I think it has some good long-term potential because these properties aren't going anywhere, and they're going to keep, you know, producing new shows and printed material as well. Next on the list, we have Watchmen #1, and from 1986. This is the premiere issue of the 12-issue series that explores the dark side of superheroes from a realistic, flawed perspective. It's the first appearance of Rorschach. I think I got that right. Dr. Manhattan, Ozymandias, Silk Spectre, the comedian, and Night Owl. Alan Moore based these characters off of DC's newly acquired Charlton heroes, The Question, Captain Atom, Thunderbolt, Nightshade, The Peacemaker, and Blue Beetle. So this is another property that, you know, has just resonated well with tons of fans, and it's going to have continued shows and new content well into the future, and it's just one of those good opportunities to buy the dip. Back in July, we had an announcement that an animated feature is in development, and that probably won't move the needle too much when it actually does get released, but it's just, you know, good confirmation that they're not done with this property, that's not going anywhere. And if we look at GP analysis for recent sales, a 9.8, the last sale was $610, definitely on the downswing, and you can get a much more affordable copy. Look at the 9.2, $65. I mean, I think for $65, it's a no-brainer to pick this book up, and some good upside potential for that into the future. Here's the announcement for the Watchmen animated movie coming in 2024, and also DC, you know, they've announced a ton of stuff, but also an animated Justice League film. Again, they're not going to move the needle too much for these animated movies, but it is going to show, you know, continued interest. Next on the list, we have Spawn #1, which may be a surprise to some people, but I have huge faith in the property of Spawn. Spawn has been breaking records, smashing the norm, and just has been downright impressive from day one. It hasn't been without its controversies, without its ups and downs, but I have a lot of faith in this property, and I think that Spawn #1, even though there was, you know, over 1 million copies of this printed, I think that it has upside potential into the future. And if we look at the sales for 9.8, the last sale was $119, almost half of the high, which was $225. So, you know, well into the future, 10, 20 years from now, I could see this book being worth $300 maybe. So a lot of upside potential for the buy-in now at $119. If you want to invest, and $119 is just like not enough money for you to invest, like you'd like a bigger investment, there's lots of options for Spawn. And the newsstand edition, I think the newsstand edition right now is a great buy at the current price of $528 was the last sale, almost half of the high. And there's some other, really rare, highly collectible versions of Spawn #1 as well. This one's a Ghost. The Error edition, German edition is really interesting, very hard to find. This one's highly coveted. So there's a lot of options out there, but if you want to keep it simple, stick with the newsstand if you're looking for, a $500-600 investment, and just good old cover A if you can get it for a good price, around $120 in today's market. Next on the list, we have Spawn #174. Because of my faith in the property of Spawn, what are we going to get if and when, there's successful live action movies and whatnot for Spawn? We're going to get spin-offs and live actions of that as well. I think that Gunslinger Spawn has a good shot at, becoming more popular than it already is, which is saying something because it's one of the most popular Spawn characters. This is the first appearance of Gunslinger Spawn, a friend of Al Simmons' great-grandfather in the 19th century. It's inspired by the Man in Black from the Stephen King Dark Tower series. You get a lot of inspired stuff with the old Todd McFarlane, which is great if you ask me. I think, everything is inspired in today's day and age, and if you can put a spin on it and make it popular in your own way, more power to you. So relatively low print count, even though 22,000 copies were printed. This book is just really hard to find. 9.8, the last sale was $698 with a low this year of $520. So there are good deals out there. If you're patient, check this sale out back in October, $552, 9.8 white pages on one of the biggest auction house sites there is. So set some reminders, watch these auction houses, grab yourself a copy, on the low. This is the book. It's not going to be technically on this list, but it goes right there with it. It's about half the price typically of Spawn 174. I actually prefer this cover, and they usually go together. Collectors usually get 174 and 175. I think both books would be a good investment if you can get a good deal in 2024. Next on the list, we're going to get back to some classic keys because 2024 has the potential to be just a great buying opportunity for classic Silver Age keys. And I've talked about this before. Uncanny X-Men is about as classic as you can get. It's always going to have super high demand for this book. I mean, there will always be people coveting X-Men 1. It's their grail book. And with prices the way they are in today's market, I would be on the lookout for a good deal anytime you can see it. Of course, this is the first team appearance of the X-Men and Cyclops, Jean Grey, aka Marvel Girl, Iceman, Angel, Beast, Professor X, the first appearance of Magneto, and the Homo Superior concept, which was coined by Magneto to describe humans born with special abilities introduced in this issue. We all know and love the X-Men, but let's take a look at GP analysis and see some of these good deals that I've been talking about. A 5.0 recently sold for $13,000. Let's see if we can find an outlier low. Look at this 4.0 for $7,500. Look at that downswing. So there are deals to be had out there. Pay attention to those auction houses, set reminders, and snipe away. Happy sniping, folks. Follow me over on Whatnot, Bry's Comics on Whatnot. There's a link in the description of any video for $15 towards your first purchase. You can come by and pick up a free book because we always have stuff in the Buy It Now for $15. Next, a classic Silver Age key that shot up way too high and, in my opinion, maybe overcorrecting. We're talking about Fantastic Four Annual #2, The Origin of Doctor Doom, and a classic Doctor Doom cover. This book is relatively rare and highly desirable. It's just great art, key significance, early appearance of Doctor Doom. And if we go and look at GP analysis, look at the 6.5, the last sale, $449, which is down about 70% from its high sale of $1,788, which seems like an outlier high. But nonetheless, look at that correction. It seems to me that this book may be overcorrecting. There's kind of a saturation of awesome Doom covers. So when Doom, if and when he gets back in the spotlight, all of these Doom covers are going to be back on people's radars. If you could pick this up on the low at today's prices, I think you'll be positioned greatly. This video is the top 10 investments for 2024. We've talked about 6 books so far. For the next 4 books, I'm going to say take your pick. Okay, so there's this category here on Key Collector called 100 Silver Keys. And literally any book on this list, if purchased at a decent price, at or below FMV in the year 2024, I believe is going to be a good investment. And so that's why I'm putting this out there saying, take your pick, because collecting comics, you know, you don't always have to just take somebody's advice on, you know, which books to invest in. Take the concepts talked about all these books here today. If you like indie properties, you know, take your pick of an indie property that has shows coming out in 2024 and invest in those. If you like classic keys like the X-Men, come over here to this list and find other Silver Age classic keys of characters that you love. That way you get to own and collect and enjoy these collectibles and investments while you know you're waiting for your investment to pay off. So you can take your pick from literally anything on here, and let's say, for example, you like the first appearance of Mr. Freeze, Batman number 121. You're a big Mr. Freeze fan. It's a great Silver Age book, super rare relative to, you know, other Silver Age keys. Come over to GP Analysis, look up Batman number 121 and see what's, you know, what some recent comps are, what it's selling for, and make your investment accordingly. So you can do that with literally any book on this list. There's so many awesome, cool things to choose from. You know, some are definitely better investments than others, but my point here is that the best investment from this list is ones that you enjoy, that characters that you enjoy, even if it's not as much of an upside potential. If you're a Flash 123 guy, this doesn't have nearly as much upside potential as some of these other books on the list, say Fantastic Four number 1. But if you enjoy it more, that's a better investment for you. And that's my point here, is use these concepts to think critically and make your own purchases. Don't forget to check out brycecomics.com. We're always getting new inventory and new stuff coming through the shop. If you use code COLLECT10, you can get 10% off all in-stock items. Also, if you sign up for the newsletter, there should be a pop-up when you come here, but you can also enter your email down here at the bottom of the homepage. You're entered to win a free slab, and you get first notification of new inventory when it comes through the shop. I do believe this is one of the greatest times to be in the comic collecting hobby. I am certainly excited for 2024 and what it has in store. Thank you so much, you guys, for all the support in 2023. Can't wait to see what's next. Thanks as always for sticking with me to the end of the video. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye. So up until this point, it's been all... So up until this point, it's been all, oh my God. So up until this point, it's been all, oh my God, I can't think of the fucking word. So up until this point, it's been all animated stuff, and